The Nintendo Switch NES service has been around for a while now, and we haven't seen a lot of new games added in the last little while, so you probably think you've played every great game on the service. But what if I told you there were actually some awesome games that you might not have heard of before that are actually some of the best games to ever be released for the NES? Hey guys, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and on today's video we're going to be talking about NES Nintendo Entertainment System Hidden Gems on the Nintendo Switch Online. Hi guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If this is your first time to the channel, please go ahead, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that YouTube stuff that helps me out. Anyways, today we're here to talk about Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, Hidden Gems on the Nintendo Switch Online. It's kind of ironic because I actually made a video 9 years ago called Nintendo Entertainment System, Hidden Gems for the original console, and actually some of the very same games that were on that video have found their way to the Nintendo Switch Online NES service. So anyways, let's take a look at just a couple games here on the service that I think you may not have heard about before, but may actually be some of the best games of all time on the NES and are worth you taking a look at. Well, I figured we'd start this off with a bang, and I mean a literal bang because the music in this game is incredible. Of course, it's a Sunsoft game who makes some of the absolute craziest video game music tracks in all of NES history, so of course you're getting some good shit here. Journey to Silius was one of the games on my original Top 10 NES Hidden Gems video, and my opinion hasn't changed over the years. This is an underrated, criminally underrated NES action platformer that I think everybody should go out and try out at some point. One of the things that is under the radar about this is this was originally supposed to be a Terminator video game. Sunsoft did a lot of movie license games back on the NES. They were actually the saving grace compared to LJN if Sunsoft had won more of the bids, but of course LJN was tied to so many toy companies as well. They always outbid the other competitors. Of course, Sunsoft have an excellent reputation for making movie license games on the NES. They've made some of the very best. I'm looking at you, Gremlins 2, and of course Sunsoft Batman, which is just one of my favorite games of all time. What an awesome game. The music, everything's incredible. Of course, this was supposed to be a Terminator game, but somewhere along the lines, they lost the contract to Terminator. They didn't get to make the game. They decided that they still wanted to release it, so instead of just scrapping the project, they changed a couple things around. We got a new storyline, and you got a good-ass game. One of the best. The only remnant of Terminator left behind is at the beginning of the intro. You can kind of hear the music as the story's playing out. In terms of gameplay, you know, it's very Mega Man-esque. I get ripped all the time because all the games I like are action platformer Mega Man clones, they call them. It's very Mega Man-esque. The movements are a little bit tricky. You get the interchangeable guns. This is definitely one worth trying out. If you have the Nintendo Switch Online service, you're looking for an excellent action platformer game, this is one I highly recommend. Next up is SCAT, which doesn't mean what you think it means. It's actually an acronym for Special Cybernetic Attack Team, but they decided to go with SCAT, and we're all left scratching our heads. Anyways, for those of you who've never played SCAT before, this is an awesome game. It's a lot like Forgotten Worlds on the Genesis, or Troubleshooter would be another great example of it, where it's kind of a scrolling shooter, but you actually play as a dude, and then you have these other options that go around you. It is very good, a very enjoyable game. A lot of people are going to say I threw this in there because of how much shit I got on my last Hidden Gems video for not including more games that weren't straightforward action platformers, but this one absolutely deserves to be there. One of the big reasons this deserves to be there is the publisher, Natsume. Natsume did some magical work late in the years on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Some of the finest looking, playing, controlling, enjoyable games on the system were developed by Natsume. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. This game is not easy. I've been playing this for years, for absolute years, and I am still terrible at it, so it's going to take a lot of practice to get good at. But once you understand the very weird control mechanics, especially with your floating options going back and forth, the way they shoot, how to take out targets on the ground, and how to best protect yourself, there's no better feeling than getting good enough that you can just peel through these levels. Absolutely, SCAT is right there for you to pick up. If this was on original console and you were collecting, SCAT is a super expensive game nowadays, and you get it right with your Nintendo Switch Online membership. Go check it out, it's really good. Speaking of good-ass Natsumi games, holy crap, Shadow the Ninja is awesome. I love Shadow the Ninja. I included it on my original Top 10 NES Hidden Gems video, despite the fact I had only owned it for about a week at that time, and only played it for a full week. I had never played the game before I bought it, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. The best way to describe this is one of those retro modern NES inspired games that we're playing now, like Shovel Knight and all that stuff, except it was actually made back in the day. Natsumi were wizards with the way the game looks graphically, with the sound, level design, control, all that stuff. This game blows me out of the water. Again, much like SCAT, it's really super hard, so you're going to have to get used to it, but once you get used to the level layouts, the patterns, and the boss patterns, all that stuff, you're going to have an absolute blast with this. One of the simple and best action platforming games on the NES, and now on the Nintendo Switch Online. Shadow the Ninja, definitely worth your playtime. So guys, next up is a game I've also previously included on a top 10 list I did, but it was actually on top 10 games under $10 on the NES. I don't know if this game is still a under $10 game, but it definitely deserves to be more, and that is Chrysalis. Chrysalis is absolutely one of the best action RPG games on the system. For fans of the Ys series, and especially the later Ys series, more of what we're used to by the time we get to games 5, 6, 7, this is an awesome NES game for you to start with. You play as a future explorer that wakes up in like an old-timey town out of a rejuvenation chamber. You do all the traditional RPG tropes. You wake up, you're granted a sword by the village elder, then you got to go get your gear. There's a lot of leveling up, I'm not going to lie to you, and a lot of money collecting, but then it's all pretty much the standard RPG fare that's so good, like picking up the right item to wake somebody up, a lot of fetch quests to move the story forward, action is really good, combat's really good. This is an absolute treat to play. If you're looking for a good action platformer and you like NES, Chrysalis may be the game for you. And last but not least, guys, is a game I have talked about so many times. I actually did a full review of this game on my channel back in the day. It's debatable on who really may have made people aware of this game. A lot of people say Metal Jesus Rocks. A lot more people watch him, so it probably was him. But I also reviewed it as well, and that's Vice Project Doom. Now, Vice Project Doom is made by American Sammy. Now, you're not going to see American Sammy show up on a lot of lists for the greatest games of all time, but they knocked it out of the park here with Vice Project Doom. It's got a really cool storyline. It's got in-between cutscenes like Ninja Gaiden that are really good, but what makes it super interesting is that it's a multi-platform game. Like, I get crap from my original NES Hidden Gems list because I had so many Mega Man type clones, side-scrolling action platformers. This is so much more than that. This is a driving, scrolling shooter game, much like Spy Hunter. Then it transforms into a side-scrolling action platformer, a lot more like Batman than Mega Man in any capacity. And later on in the levels, which I didn't capture any footage of, there's actually a first-person scrolling shooter stage as well. This game has so much action packed into it. The gameplay is so good. The bosses are fun. It's all about knowing the patterns, typical NES stuff. Vice Project Doom kicks absolute ass, and it's so cool that they included it here for the Nintendo Switch Online service. So guys, those are my picks for NES Hidden Gems on the Nintendo Switch Online service. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think these games are still considered to be hidden gems? Are they hidden gems among people trying out the NES system for the first time? Do you feel that the NES Online services, specifically the NES games, has kind of been stale for a while and you're looking for something new to play? Is this something that resonates with you? Let me know in the comments. And if there's other games on here that you think are also hidden gems, let me know that too. Anyways, guys, once again, thank you so very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time.